There is no mud at the pub, just good chat, debate, and love. There is no mud at the pub, so make sure you're locked in. So everybody, there is no mud at the pub, just good chat, debate, and love. There is no mud at the pub, so make sure you're locked in. So everybody, there is no mud at the pub, just good chat, debate, and love. There is no mud.
Hey guys, welcome to There Is No Mud in the Pub, episode 6. I'm Nigel from Pure Coys, and tonight I have two very special guests with me. Probably the two nicest marks I've ever met. So, the Cookmeister, how are you, buddy?
Oh, good night. Thanks very much. Thanks for the very complimentary. What's the word? I don't know. What's the word we call it, Nige? Complimentary
The intro.
intro. I had invite in my head then, Nige. I couldn't get invite out of my head. Intro. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you very much. That was very nice. And I would like to say on behalf of Mark and myself, you're right. We are the two nicest marks you've ever met. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. And the Sheriff, how are you, buddy? I hear you've been on the piss this afternoon, so
Well, my neighbours are already in the comments. I can see the comments slipping up. Yes, I've been out since past 12. So, all is good. I'm well in the pub. I wish I could stay in the pub. I wish I could have stayed in the pub, but I knew I was contracted to this, so I had to come home.
You are contracted. You don't get anything for it, but you are contracted to it. As you can see, I am still in the pub.
Yeah.
But so what are we drinking tonight, guys? The question that Mark really.
I got some Amstels, as you know. Amstel is my friend.
Nice.
And I was going, Nige. I was going to go over and get a can of Guinness. And believe it or not, I'd already bought the Ribena. I bought a bottle of Ribena today to have me a little bit of blackcurrant in the top, and I was going to sup a pint of Guinness and black. But I didn't go and get the Guinness, Nige.
So you just got black.
Schoolboy error.
It's just a can of Red Bull.
Red Bull's cool. It doesn't have to be alcohol. It can be anything you want. It could be squash.
That's the choice tonight.
I've got a Madri.
Oh.
I had to go to B&M earlier, and then once I finish them, I have this little bad boy, bit of spice rum. But yeah, it's good stuff.
Oh, right. Just carry on a minute. If we're talking shorts, that's a different story, bruv. All right, I'll be back in a sec. I thought we was talking. Oh, no, you two just carry on for a minute. I'm on my way back.
Okay.
Right?
Well, I'm going to say hello to the chat quickly. So this is your drinking partner earlier.
It is. Yeah.
Lukey, big up, mate. Hope you're well. And it's just nice to see you.
Big up, mate. Big up.
Lisa's in the chat. Hi, Lisa. Hope you're well. And 5 Horts 81. Good evening. And we have the Sheriff saying that's dedication. Sheriff, love to see it.
Yes. It's, yeah. Locked in, mate. Locked in.
Fair dues. I've never really liked Guinness personally.
I don't like it either, mate.
No, I don't know what it is. I'm not really a Guinness drinker or like stout or anything like that.
No.
But I'm on the Cruzcampo. I don't even know what that is. That's really bad. I should know. Let us know what that is, buddy.
Is that a lager? It sounds like a lager.
Could well be. Love a bit of spice rum is heaven. And big up, Scott M. Hope you're well, buddy.
Yeah, big up, brother.
And yeah, Guinness way too
Yeah,
hot.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I can't be done with that.
So as soon as
Oh, he's back.
Mark?
What's he got here now?
Here we go then. So Scott Emma probably like this. There's gone for a bit of the old bourbon, Western Gold,
Nice.
with ice, no messing about.
Nice.
Drop in the top, straight, mate. No pissing about with Coke or all that old. Normally, I've got to say to you, if I do have a little tipple, which is very rare, Mark knows I don't drink.
No.
And it is very rare. I have 2 tipples just now and again. Guinness. I love a Guinness out of the tap at the pub, especially on a sunny day. You can sit out in the garden there. With It's beautiful. But I think I like it so much because it's only now and again. Do you know what I mean? Rather than regularly.
Yeah.
But I do love on a night out. Once I've had me pint of Guinness, if it's like one of them once a year things where you're getting on it, Jack Daniel's straight, mate. Oh, Jack Daniel's straight with plenty of ice all night long, mate. Love it. Love it.
All I got to say, save yourself when me and Nige come to visit.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah,
Don't worry. I just want to let you know that I've put a little drop in there so you're not thinking that I'm, it's straight. It's not going straight down the hatch, by the way, but I just have a little sip so you know I'm having a drink.
Chug,
chug, good, mate.
Chug.
Own it.
There you go.
Yeah, well done, buddy.
He's in town.
But so Kem is good evening, mate. On the Thatcher's Gold. I like a bit of Thatcher's.
I can't drink cider.
He's on it tonight. He is.
Yes.
And Luke, JD and honey on ice. That's good. Yeah, I like all the little different flavored whiskies and rums. Now I like a what's it called? Oh, I can't remember what it's called. What's the whiskey that's? Oh, my mind's gone blank. I'll think about it later.
Tennessee honey.
Yeah, Tennessee honey's good.
That's Jack Daniels, isn't it?
Yeah, no, Fireball. Have you ever tried Fireball?
Oh, Fireball. I've heard of it. I haven't tried it.
I love Fireball.
I don't drink none of that.
They do the adverts for that all the time on YouTube. It's something to do with the darts. Do the darts sponsor it or something? Or
maybe they sponsor them. Yeah, they probably sponsor the darts. Well, let's get into the show, guys. Let's just quickly brush over Spurs, seeing as we are Spurs fans. Proper Spurs fans, I like to add. So the first question. Thoughts on Wolves tomorrow?
I'll let Mark go first. Go on, Mark.
Does it matter? Does it really matter? I mean, yes, I always want us to win. I'm just going to say this before I go on negative stuff. I always want my club to win. Of course, I always want Tottenham to win. But this season's been it's been a disaster, to be honest. It has. You know?
The word you're looking for, Mark, is wank. How's that? Is that
well, I'm going to say that. Well, I'm not going to say that because you monetize yet, Nige?
No, that's years away.
All right, it's been wank. All right, it's been wank. All right, let's get that. It's been wank. No, put it this way, right? We were all at the protest last Sunday, right? And it's the only time I've been to N17. Right? And I wasn't bothered about going in the ground. Now, bear in mind where, especially me and you, Cookie, but me and Nige sort of live in the same area, more or less.
Yeah.
What's it, 30 mile, Nige?
Yeah.
Roughly. Every time I went to the stadium, if I travelled all that way, what are we, Nige? 150 miles? from a stadium.
I think you're probably 150. I'm probably about 120, I expect.
Yeah,
I'm 230.
yeah.
Oh,
But if I'd have gone to that stadium, if I'd have gone to that area, N17, and I had a ticket, I'd be furious. You know, I thought, what's the fucking point in coming all this way and not having a ticket to get in? But last week, I wasn't bothered, you know? We just went in the pub, didn't we? I had a few Amstels. Happy days.
We are. Come on, Mark. No negativity, mate.
No,
Have a
I'm
word-
What
sorry.
happens if you get?
I'm
You know what
sorry.
happens if you get negative on
Have a
tonight's
word
show?
with
You get
yourself,
this.
Sheriff, will you? So
Get out my
these will
pub.
fall out with you. You know
Right.
how it is.
So you ruined it there. You
Get
ruined
out
it.
my pub.
I can do
There
it
we
again.
go.
All right.
There you go. Yeah. But that's the way it was, man. You know, I wasn't bothered about going in the ground. I don't feel any connection to the club anymore. You know, even living where I do. You know, I always used to feel a connection to the club. You know, not anymore. Not anymore. The way it's become, the way it's run, I'm not bothered about it anymore. We win, we win.
What would change? What would change your opinion, Mark? What would make you less like bothered? You know, make you fall in love with the club again.
To be honest, a decent manager is one. A decent manager
Any
and
manager.
an owner that really cared about the football, you know? Because we all know this owner don't give a monkeys about the football. As long as he's got Beyonce and Guns N' Roses and NFL, and he don't give a monkeys. Doesn't give a monkeys about the football. I've always said there's no reason with all the stuff we got now going on with the ground, with everything that's going on there. Right? There's no reason whatsoever that we shouldn't be up there competing. Right. A lot of it is the manager. Right? Because he's crap. Let's face it, he's shite. You know, I ain't going to mess about with me words. He is crap. This manager, he ain't got a clue. Right? But the overwhelming problem at the club is the owner. He doesn't take risks and he won't invest in the team. All the money we got coming in now, and you can't tell me he can't. Even when, I know I keep mentioning this every show, when Potts was there, if we'd have had 2 or 3 more players, we could have won 2 league titles. We could have won. The year Leicester won it and the year Chelsea won it, we could have won them. You know, but he wasn't prepared to, like, just ship the boat out a little bit. You know, it's like, well, when Pochettino was there, I felt really connected with the club. Even though I never went a lot, I went a few times when Poch was manager, but I felt really connected, you know, because of the manager, really. You know, but now I'm disconnected, you know. It's horrendous. I've never felt so low being a Spurs fan for 50 odd years.
Well,
Wow.
anything positives to say?
Come on, you Spurs.
Happy days. Just wanted you to finish on that. I didn't want you to finish on a negative note there because
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
Like you, Cook.
Well, we're talking about tomorrow. I don't want to get on
Yeah.
the range, mate. To be honest with you, because you know
No.
my feelings on it, and I don't want to go in too hard. It's not my fault. He's a pussy, is it? At the end of the day, he is shit. And the sooner people realise it, the better. End of. That's my rant done. Just wanted to keep it short and sweet. It's not my show.
I like
Tomorrow.
it. I like it.
I'm going to go for... Do you know what? I'm fed up with saying we're going to lose all the time because I do. It's just how I feel. You know, it's not because I want to say we're going to lose and predict we're going to lose. but I've been right a lot this season. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to say it's going to be 2-2 tomorrow. But again, a lot of that depends on how many of the 11 that he played against Frankfurt is he going to shield for Thursday?
That's the thing, isn't it? Team selection. Who's he going to
rest?
rest?
This is the problem. But I'm going to go 2-2. I'm going to be positive. I'm going to say 2-2. Come on, you Spurs. Like Mark said, it don't mean a lot. It don't mean a lot at the end of the day. You know, to me, it might mean a lot to Levy because the difference between 16th and 12th, I don't know, is probably a couple of million quid or something. You know, so and he's going to want that. But to me, it don't make, as a fan, 16th, 12th, 10th, we don't get nothing else for that.
No. I believe it's about 3 million a place with the parents.
Oh, is it that much? Well,
yeah, I think so.
You know, whatever it is, Mark, you know, to us, with the position that we're in now, you know, we're looking at somewhere between, you know, where we are now and maybe 12th, you know, something like that.
Yeah. It's one of them, isn't it? Because
to us as a collective, though, Nige, that don't make no difference, does it? I know it does.
Let's face it, mate. Let's face it, mate. It means fuck all.
It doesn't. But you know, I'm quite happy to say now I don't care if we lose tomorrow. But I know if we do lose, I will be pissed off.
Yeah.
So it's one of them, isn't it? It doesn't really matter, but I still don't want us to lose.
Yeah, of course, we want us to still to win, Nige. Look, every game, mate, and I keep saying this all the time. Every game, we may have a lot of negative points. What we point towards the club after each and every game, performance, but we do give out positives as well. You know, if the team play well, the team will get recognised for playing well. If players play well. In after-match reviews, that will tell you that we thought they played well. It's just an opinion at the end of the day, you know. And what I've seen in the last 18 months, there haven't been many standout performances in any game at all, really. You know, all right, we done Man City, we done Villa. You know, there's been a few teams we've pumped, and that's why we've got a plus 11 goal difference or whatever it is. You know, it was plus 20 something because we were pumping teams. 3, 4, 5, but then what weren't being recognised was the following week we were being pumped 3, 4, 5. You know, but at the end of the day, Mark, regardless of, you know, whatever the score was, we were getting beat. We've lost 16 games this season, and that's the most harrowing thing about it in the league.
Is it 16 in the league now?
Yeah, I think it's 16 in the league and 20 altogether with the cup.
20 over, that's not acceptable, man. That ain't acceptable. For a team of our stature, as much as, like you said, Mark, as much as, like on our channel, we slag the team off, we slag the manager off. At the end of the day, man, we're all Spurs fans, you know? And we want to see what's best for this club. Put it this way, right? Our channel would change immediately if we won week after week. Wouldn't it? You know? It would.
At the end of the day.
If we won week on, week out, me and you would be on our channel and we'd be like, oh, weren't they brilliant?
You'd see us jumping about all over the place on every video.
Yeah.
You know, there'd be videos coming out every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
I've told you.
It's hard putting videos out, isn't it, when we're losing every week?
Yeah. Since
hard.
Me and Mark started our channel, right? I've said it on many of our shows. We just will copy and paste our show and repeat it every time we play. When we do it like a match reaction, the two Marks versus so-and-so, whoever, we just will copy and paste the show from the week before.
Yeah.
Because it's the same thing. And I'll be honest with you, it's frustrating.
Yeah, it is.
Being a Spurs fan, as long as, like we all have, Because what we got between us, over 150 years
Yeah.
of like supporting this club. And it's frustrating.
But Mark, but I know we're on Nigel's channel, but he won't mind. Don't forget to tell the viewers about the content that's coming. You know.
No, well, yeah.
You know. There's a little change coming in the content. I don't mind. I'll say it quickly. The old lifetime on Spurs. Keep your eyes out. That's all I'm going to say. Just for something a little bit different to the same week in stuff out that we talk about, that we try to change the way we talk about it. And, you know, it is so difficult sometimes, so difficult. But it is what it is, man. You can only talk about what's going on. And if you're watching Dross all the time, you've got to have your opinion. And if you think it's Dross, you say it's Dross. You know?
Yeah, exactly. And if you just want to say this now, if you haven't subscribed to the Two Mark Show, please get over to the channel now. The link is in the chat. Get over and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. Let's
I'll sort that immediately. I'll put our link in the chat.
Shameless.
I would ask Mark to do it, but you know.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, mate. It's all right.
You know what I'm saying, bruv?
You're the main man. Come on.
Well,
let's admit it now. Let's admit it now. I'm just going to put it out there, right? On the Two Mark Show, just so all the chat know, the Sheriff does everything.
No, I don't. No,
he does everything. But
no, I do not.
No. On his
no, I do not.
On his behalf.
No, I do not. I'm not having that.
We are equal, though. We're equal.
No, I'm not having that. I do everything.
You get the guess.
I'm not having that. I do everything, mate, because I give you the easy job about getting the guests.
All right, then,
all
mate.
I got to do is set the shows up.
That's it. We're equals. We're equal Stevens.
Exactly. And so there's none of the sheriff that. And so there's none of this shit about the sheriff does everything, because he doesn't. No, let's just get that in there. There you go, look. In the time you were chatting, I put our link in, mate. I wouldn't ask you to do it, but you know.
You're a ledge, bro.
There you go. The link is in the chat. Go and subscribe to them. Let's get them at least 4 or 5 new subscribers in the next. I sound like Savage, didn't I? In the next 5 minutes. Let's do it. Come on.
Yeah.
No, come on, Arsha, get it in there. Bit throatier. Come on. Nige, come on, carry on.
Throatier.
That's it, bit throatier.
I can't do throatier. I'd end up spitting all over them. But yeah, get and subscribe and like the stream as well, because these likes push us out to the algorithm, which apparently kind of like makes other people watch us. I don't know.
Well, fuck if I know.
I don't know.
Come on, hit the likes, people. Stop taking the piss. You're in the chat. Come on. You're here for a reason, because you want to be, because you like us. Hit that like button. Maybe. Thank you. Even if you don't like us, hit the like button.
Yeah, especially if you don't like us.
And sub to this. And sub.
and sub. God, I thought I'd taken that off by now.
Ah, dear. Cheers, everyone. Right. Hope everyone's having a good evening.
Yeah. Happy Saturday night, guys. I actually thought it was Easter tomorrow. It's not, is it? It's not till next week.
No, it's next week, isn't it?
I bought Easter eggs and everything for the kids. I wonder why there were so many left.
I know school holidays like vary, but the kids have been off a week already round here.
Yeah, same here.
And so they got next week, and then it's Good Friday, Saturday, Easter Sunday, Monday, whatever. Monday. And then I think the kids go back round here Wednesday, I think.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's almost like a summer holiday. Easter is just nuts.
Yeah.
We got one lot of grandkids that have got 1 week off, and another lot have got 2 weeks off. So the lot that have got 1 week off get a week added somewhere. Either they've had it before or they have it for the summer holiday. It's mad, mate. I don't know how it works.
Yeah.
You just get the phone call. You have the kids. Yeah. All right. In a bit.
I swear the holidays weren't like this when I was at school.
No, got hardly any time off.
Well, we had 6 weeks in the summer, wasn't it?
6. That was amazing, wasn't it? Those 6 weeks. I used to just play football every day.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Every day. And I was quite lucky because I lived on a, because I don't know about you guys. We haven't spoke about this. Maybe we can speak about it now. When I grew up, I grew up on a council estate. So my mum and dad were very much, factory workers, lived on a council estate. But I lived right next to a field, which like a football pitch. So every night we were out there, every summer till it went dark. It's just, I had the best childhood. I couldn't ever complain.
Yeah.
Amazing childhood I had.
Did you grow up where you are now, Nudge?
Yeah, I'm still Trowbridge born and bred.
Yeah. Well, obviously, me and you are in the same area. We ain't going to go too far to see the countryside, have we?
No.
You know what I mean? And there was football pitches around me. We were just, when I was a kid, I was told you come back when the street lights go on. You know what I mean? If I want Rich, big up, mate.
Rich.
Yeah. I was told if you weren't back when the summer street lights were on, you were in the shit. You were in trouble.
Yeah.
And believe you me, when I was in trouble, it wasn't like it was up. You know what I mean?
Old school parenting, mate.
Yeah, it was a whack. It was a whack when I was a kid.
That's what's missing today, mate.
That's what's missing. It was a whack when I was a kid.
There you go.
Yeah, but it wasn't even that for me. It was like, it was very much like you come in when the street lights come on. But
exactly.
living on a council estate, it would be my mum or dad shouting out the door, "Oh, yeah!" And then 6 doors down, they would shout out the door, "You got to go home, Nige," and it would just carry on until I heard it, and then I'd come home because everyone kind of knew each other.
Well, exactly.
But yeah, big up Spurs Kings.
Oh, it's Marlon, I think, or Ashton. One of the two. I think it's Marlon.
Can you go back up to that one, but the leave is in one? Yeah, I've got no problem with that. Doing any of that when you've sold up and gone.
Yeah,
just to let you know.
Okay, let's get into another question. We haven't really asked many questions yet, have we?
No, we haven't. You have one, Nudge.
I thought we were still on the Spurs bit. Have we done that now? That Spurs bit?
Yeah, I'm bored of talking about
Tottenham. I was going to say, are we done now? That's all right then.
I just feel it just like brings everything down, doesn't it?
Let's have another sip because I've got a feeling it's going to be a long night tonight. I know I'm looking forward to this evening. Let's have it.
It's the first time you've been on, man.
Yeah, so let's go with this one. First gig you went to, who was it and where was it? And join in the chat. Let us know in the chat your first gig you ever went to.
I can do that.
Go on then.
Wembley Stadium, the old Wembley Stadium.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what year it was, Nige.
Was it Live Aid?
No, it was after Live Aid. And it was the Eagles at Wembley Stadium.
Oh, I love the Eagles.
Oh, my word. It was brilliant, man.
What was that?
Yeah, it was a fantastic, fantastic day, that. I wasn't really into that type of thing. Do you know what I mean? I was, like a lot of people like to hear music all the time, don't they? And I had it on in my van regular when I was doing my work and stuff like that. But wasn't really into going to, I don't know, the theatre or, concerts, like that sort of thing. But I was quietly, I went with a load of mates from work and I was quietly impressed with it, to be quite honest with you. It's very good. Very, very good.
No, for me.
I love the Eagles. Go on.
Yeah. I'm not sure if this counts, but Bad Manners used to come to a club in my town.
Yeah.
Twice, 3 times a year. I'm pretty sure Buster Blood Vessel's got relatives that might live around my area. And so that Does that count? It wasn't a gig. It was just in a nightclub. They were up there on a Saturday night. But the first time I travelled to go to a gig was, I'm very ashamed, I used to like rap music many years ago, late 80s and that. I went to see Public Enemy and Run DMC in Newport.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Like
Enjoy that one, Mark?
Eh?
Did you enjoy that one?
Yeah, brilliant, man. I used to love rap. Well, I still do like rap music, but only not the new stuff. Old school rap, like Run DMC, Public Enemy, NWA. We won't like say what that stands for, but you know all the old school Ice T.
Yeah.
You know all that sort of stuff. You know the old school rap, not the rubbish song now. Not that nonsense. But I like rap music before I got popular, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You know, Public Enemy, I still got a Public Enemy shirt upstairs.
Yeah. What about you, Nige?
It's about 30 years old, but like...
30 years old, yeah.
Yeah.
Fair dues.
So my first gig was... So I went to two within a couple of weeks of each other, and totally different ends. So the first gig I went to was a band called the Inspiral Carpets.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you remember them. They're like an old Manchester band.
Yeah.
A bit like Oasis and that Stone Roses kind of thing. So I saw the Inspiral Carpets at Swindon Oasis.
Did you have any E's at the time?
Not that night, I didn't know. And then I went to see, which is probably the best concert I've ever been to. I went to see In Excess at Wembley Stadium for Summer Excess, which was just amazing.
I was going to say, if you just saw them like late 80s, early 90s, that Inspiral Carpet, surely there was like a few E's popped about.
There probably was, yeah. I got a lift from my...
No, I never did none of that. I wasn't interested. When I first started going clubbing, even where I live, like every time we went in the club, do you want an E? Do you want an E? I was like, nah. Because all you saw in the sun was like, person takes E, dead immediately. I didn't want to be a fish wrapper, you know, for the next day, you know, on the Monday, you know. I couldn't be doing it, so I never done none of that. Even though it was widely available, it was everywhere. It was literally everywhere. Ecstasy.
Yeah.
Back in the
No,
day,
I agree. I had one of those T-shirts, Cam, as well, cool as fuck, mood T-shirts. Yeah.
Yeah. The little smiley man on there. I never done none of it. I couldn't be doing. I was in there. And I was like absolutely arsehole. Like
I must admit to I went to, so there was a rave club in Bournemouth called The Remix, which was underground. And we used to go there. I mean, I say we used to go there. I probably went there 3 or 4 times in a year. But all my mates used to go there every week. Would drive from Trowbridge, hour and a half to Bournemouth, just to go to this rave club. And I must admit, a couple of times I did go there, I did take an E. But yeah, it's not something I'd make a habit of.
I was too scared to do it, man.
Silly. Yeah, that was
you're talking about Bournemouth, mate. You're talking about that club in Bournemouth. Do you not think I don't know about this? I live closer than you to it.
You probably do, yeah.
Yeah, well, I definitely do.
I don't mean to jump in here, Mark, but you know, as you've committed to never taking hard drugs in your life, and Nige has, I think we should disassociate ourselves with him. I'm not too happy about me and you being on the same screen, me being woke and all that.
I'm not saying I haven't smoked a blunt in my time.
Oh,
you
shit. It's a one Mark show.
Well, I'm just saying. I'm not. I'm not completely spotless, but like.
We've all got big up. She's in the other room. That's the missus. She's in the other room.
Smiths, they were a good band back in the day.
All I'm saying is, back when I was 18, 19, 20, I was too scared to take a knee.
Yeah.
Because you saw the headlines in the paper. It was every Monday in the paper. Blah, 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 died, took one knee and croaked.
Yeah.
You know, I was too scared. I was too scared to do it. So I thought, I don't want to be the chip wrapper for Monday, you know, or Tuesday.
No, exactly.
You know, I was too scared to do it. I'm not saying I've never smoked a blunt in my life. I've had. If I say 2, will that get me off it?
Yeah, I get you off that.
Yeah, but there we go. I've had 2 then.
So yeah, this started as gigs, and then this is quickly turned to drugs.
Well, yeah, it is.
There's no one in the pub, Nige.
I know.
Well, to
Yeah,
be honest though, that's what went on at gigs. You know,
It's true,
you
man.
just got pissed and stoned, didn't you, at gigs?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, no, the early. I mean, I know they say the 60s is was a thing for drugs, but certainly the late 80s, early 90s for me was drugs were everywhere as a teenager.
Yeah,
You know,
even in our part of the world, even in our part of the world, and we basically live in the back end of nowhere. You know, especially where I live. Jesus, you know, I think you used to smuggle it down in the sheep.
Sheep, yeah, probably.
I've just realised the missus is tuned in the other room, and I'm in here on the Western Gold, and she's had 2 teeth out and sitting there like that. Poor old cow.
I know,
You know what I mean?
Oh well.
Sorry, Lisa. I've just had to join the lads. I couldn't get the Guinness. So I found David's Western Gold in a cupboard, so I'm just having a little one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All speed at punk. Yeah, I love a good punk gig.
She put a comment
in.
She did, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
nice.
You ain't in trouble, are you?
Oh no, never in trouble, Release.
No, I know, man. Your missus is lovely.
Yeah, she is. She's a diamond.
Big up your missus.
That's it.
Big up Mark's missus.
That's it.
Okay, let's go to another question. That turned a bit weird.
Well, it was a bit.
If you could be a sportsman, like any sportsman, I mean, not the particular sport. If you could play a sport, what sport would it be if it was a professional sport and you obviously not football?
I can go first straight away if you want.
Whatever.
I would have wanted to be a motocross rider, professional motocross rider. I did motocross when I was a kid, but football took over motocross, if that makes sense.
You were nearly professional, mine, bruv. Get that in there.
Yeah, that's neither here nor there. I wasn't nearly, Mark. You're never there till you're there, man. You know what I mean?
No, but I'm saying, man, you played at a good standard.
Yeah, I played at a good level. Yeah, I did. It's just, it wasn't the best level, but it was. Yeah, I think I played to a decent level. It is what it is. But anyway, going back to the motocross, yeah, I did motocross when I was a kid. And I was lucky. You were talking about spaces earlier around where you live and that. So I was really lucky. So just to change subject, going back to where we was slightly. I lived in Waltham Cross on a estate called the Holbrook Estate. So we lived in a block of flats. My mum and dad moved into their flat in 1967 with an orange box. Literally, with an orange box apiece. Big up, Phil. So anyway, I grew up there, spent all my young years there, and I was at home with my mum until I was 25, with the few, usual on and off bits in between. And had a football field right out the back window. We lived on the first floor, and literally there was a bit of grass at the bottom down there, 12, 15 foot, a little path, and a fence with a hole in it, where all us kids used to go through to get, and a full-size football pitch there. Right there. So you can imagine, even when I weren't riding my motorbike, after school, at night, in the summer, whenever it was light, he's out there on the football pitch all the time. you know, all of us together playing football. Yeah, it was great. It was great. So on the motocross part of it, my uncle had a farm in Nazing, which was six mile up the road. Just followed a crooked mile, takes you all the way to Nazing.
Yeah.
He had fields everywhere that were empty, so he built a motocross track on the fields. So when I was doing motocross, I was up there regular. He had his bikes, his kids had their bikes. Obviously, I was his nephew. I got involved that way, and I was up there on the farm practicing. And when I weren't practicing, my parents were taking me to meetings all over the country to race when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So I was really lucky, really, really lucky as a kid to be able to do the two things that I really loved doing as far as sport were concerned. You know, really lucky.
Now, come on, man. Come on, man. You've told me this when I've been backstage with you. And
Essex Senior League, Mark.
Let's talk about your football thing and all the things when you used to go to Tottenham training ground with Glenn Hoddle, Steve Perryman. Come on, man. Come on, man. This is your chance to shine now, man.
No, I don't do things. I don't. It's not. No, back in the day, everyone knows we spoke about this before. So back in the day, you know, when
you ain't said it on stream though, brother.
Yeah, but back in the day, Hoddle, Ardiles, Ricky Villa, even going back to players like Jerry Armstrong that were at Spurs. Yeah? So we literally could sit on a mound and watch these fellas train. There wasn't none of this passes to get in the training ground and you can only go here and you can only go there. There were literally pitches, 3 or 4 pitches, and they'd be on a pitch at any one time doing their drills, doing their training, doing whatever they were doing. And us kids were sitting there 30, 40, 50 yards away. You know, and we didn't know if it was a training day. We didn't know if it was an off day. Any holidays that we were on, the kids were up there, mate. You know what I mean? Anyone that was interested in football was sitting on that mound watching these professional football players. And we were lucky kids, mate. Kids today, I don't know if they can get to do stuff like that.
But they wouldn't get in hospital way, would they?
You know, no, but, you know, it's just like when you see things like that and you're seeing players of the ilk of, you know, people like Glenn Hoddle and, you know, Ozzy Ardiles messing about in training and it's just like we were lucky, man. We were lucky kids. And I'm talking about all the kids that were there. But for me personally, to be able to do that, it was literally a 10, 15 minute walk from where I lived to get to Brookfield Way, to the training ground. Literally 10 minutes. And I'd walk up there with me ball, bouncing me ball. I can remember doing it now. You know, I was only 10, 11, 12 years old. But it was all right because my mum knew exactly where I was. Exactly. If I said to her, Mum, I'm going up to Spurs when I was on my school holidays, she'd know if she needed to get me, she knew exactly where I was.
No. Come on, bruv. You ain't. You've told me all this off camera.
No, don't mean I've got to tell everyone on camera, does it?
No, I'm just saying, man. I'm trying to big you up here.
You ain't got to big me up, Mark.
I'm trying to big you up, mate. Tell the stories about Steve Perryman and your dad's. Where he worked.
Yeah, I can do that. Steve Perryman. So, Steve Perryman, used to, you know, when are we talking now? So we're talking, so I would have been 10-ish. So you're probably talking about 78, 77, 78, something like that. And he used to do a bit of business up at the yard where my dad worked. So very often I would go up to my dad's yard, or my dad would be working and it'd be, again, school holidays, stuff like that. And he'd say to me, which again, the yard was literally, you could throw a tennis ball as hard as you could, and the yard was that far away from where we lived. It was literally just round the corner. And my dad would say to me, for argument's sake, make sure you're at the yard for 10 o'clock, you know, because we're leaving at 10:15. I've got to run to Liverpool or whatever. Righto, Dad. And you'd turn up at the yard and who'd be there? Stevie P. Oh, yeah, Stevie P would be there. Now, Stevie P was not averse to all the young lads because the chap who owned the yard, he had young lads as well, and he'd quite happily knock a ball about with us youngsters. And this is a pro at Spurs. You know what I mean? It's like, wow. And this is in a working yard. You know, it might not have been working for when we was knocking the ball about, but it was just concrete, you know? And we've got Stevie Perry.
Yeah, lock up there, didn't he? Where he used to source some stuff.
Yeah, he did.
You told me that. I just wanted to pick you up, mate, because
Stevie P. Look, Gazza. I've met Gazza a few times. Gazza's a legend. Let me tell everyone, Gazza is like what you saw on the pitch, the cheeky chappy. You know, he is just like that off the pitch. First time I met him was at Oddiston Town Centre. I was out delivering. I had a delivery round and he pulls up over the road. So I shout out the window, Gazza! And he stands there with his thumbs up and goes like this. And I walk over the road, I've never met the geezer in my life. I'm standing there chatting to him for 15 minutes. Just about football.
Nice.
And about Tottenham. So anyway, it transpires that Gazza's house, he's on my patch too. And then so I work out that after 6 months of knocking on the door and no one's answering the door to leave the parcels for him, there's a little note down there hidden by a plant, leave parcels. And eventually I'm knocking one day and he opens the door and it's him. And we're just chatting away again. He's just such a lovely bloke. Such a lovely bloke. You know, and to meet some of these heroes that you saw on the football pitch and have a chat with them. You know, it's just unbelievable. And they are, at the end of the day, you know, we all see them as professional footballers and heroes and villains and, you know, whatever you want to call them. But at the end of the day, they're just people. They are just people.
Big up, bruv. I just wanted you to get that out there, mate. You've told me all of this backstage.
Yeah.
When we've been chatting on the phone, you said you met Stevie P, used to kick the ball up. I just wanted you to get it out there, so it's recorded.
Man, it's true. I've got no porkies to tell, man.
No,
you know what I mean? It is what it is. It was part of my childhood. I'll never forget it. And you know, when I met Gazza, I was a man. But you know, when you meet your heroes like that, you just sort of freeze. Do you know what I mean? You just freeze, and you don't know what to say to him. But he made you feel so easy, Gazza. You know, it was like you'd been his mate forever. He was a lovely, lovely bloke. A lovely bloke.
Just don't go for a drink with him.
No, just don't go for a drink with him.
No.
Lovely, lovely man.
So I just want to answer quickly Kavinsky, who has said, what does no mud at the pub mean? Is it a Cockney term? It is not a Cockney term. Basically, I mean, all of you have watched YouTube for many years, I'm guessing. And there's a lot of mud that gets slung around when people talk football and people get things wrong. And it always seems to be, you're in the mud. Well, there is no mud at the pub. This is where we come, we just talk. And nothing is taken, nothing's clipped. Well, it might be. But there's no mud at the pub. So you know, you can say what you want. There's no comeback on it. It's all good. So
basically, we just come in here and talk bollocks on a Saturday night.
Exactly. We just talk bollocks on a Saturday night, couple of drinks.
Make sure in the chat as well, you're all having a cheeky one. I don't drink really, but it's Nigel's show, and one of the requirements is that we have just a little cheeky one. We're allowed one.
Hang on a minute, brother. Brother, you could have come on here and had a Coke.
I could have done. Listen, you don't have to have a drink. Have a Coke. Have a have what you want, but just have a chill. Just relax with a stream for a bit. Get involved in the chat. Have a bit of a giggle. There's nothing personal. We all take the piss out of each other. We take the piss out of you as well if you like. We ain't got a problem with doing that. We can do that. Yeah. I'm sure Nige won't mind.
This is basically like
in the pub.
This is this show's set up. They're basically like 3 blokes in the pub, couple of beers, and like, you know, take the piss out of each other, talk about shit.
Exactly.
And that's
Give
the way
it
it is.
half hour. We'll be talking about wanking and
Yeah,
white
socks
socks.
and
Yeah.
all sorts.
You know,
Well,
all sorts.
hang on.
What-
Well,
what
I
socks?
said this in the chat. There's no talking about socks or.
I missed that message.
Yeah, so did I. Oh, dear.
Anyway,
Yeah,
what was the
I'm
bloody
sorry,
question
mate.
anyway, Nudge?
Yeah.
You were saying about
I don't know.
sporting
What would?
stuff, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. What would you play? What would be your sport?
Now, me, I always liked my golf. I always liked my golf. I wasn't too bad at it, to be honest. I ain't played for ages. I can't remember last time I swung a golf club, but like, I was always quite good at golf.
It's that
Biggest-
geezer the other night, wasn't it?
Eh?
That's what you told me. It was that geezer the other night
What geezer the other night?
that you swung the golf club at the pub.
No, I don't go to the pub,
He was
man.
good at golf.
Apart from today, I might have gone to the pub. But like, see, you put me off now. Put me off. Are you just starting to take the piss out of me and like put me off?
Never, mate. Never. It's
No,
not
no.
like that.
No, my eye on you. I nearly poked it through my glasses. Hang on. But, no. I always like my golf. The Masters is on next week. I will spend 4 days watching the Masters. Or Augusta. I love my golf. A lot of people find it boring. So be it. But I will sit there and watch all of it. I was alright at golf. I think the Sheriff, you have some nice courses by you. Yes. Yes and no. Yeah, well, yes. But, well, do you really know where? Oh, yeah. Because Spotlight on Spurs, Luke, his gran lives near me,
That's true.
allegedly. Yeah, she lives up the road. And, yeah, there's some half sensible ones. Yeah, but not really. Well, I had a hole in one. True story. Proper, not like on fucking Facebook or PlayStation or nothing like that.
You liar. It was on pitch and putt, wasn't it? It was on pitch
No,
and
no,
putt.
it wasn't.
You got
No,
only
it wasn't,
one.
mate. It was a
All right.
championship. It was. I've never told you this. I've never told you this. I had a hole in one at a championship golf course. They played proper tournaments there.
Did you, Sheriff? Wow.
Yes.
Really?
Oh, fuck, you kept that
I'll
quiet.
tell you
eh?
where it was. If you let me get a word in, I'll tell you where it was.
All right.
Burnham and Barrow.
Yeah.
It's Burnham on Sea, North
Yeah.
Somerset. I played that course once. And I had a hole in one on about the 6th or something like the 5th or 6th hole. It was a par 3, 150 odd yards. I hit an 8 iron. It bounced once. Roll, straight in the hole.
Wow.
That's true story. Hang on. Less than 2 seconds.
Okay. While the sheriff's gone to do whatever he's gone to do, please
No.
also
Here we go. Here we
come
go.
to
See this?
Spurs if you haven't.
See this? There's a plaque there with a golf ball hitting the hole.
Wow. I think from the chat there and from Nigel and me, we'll give it a bigger Nigel. Well done, Sheriff, on behalf of us. That's quality. Well done, mate.
Yeah, I was half set. I wasn't brilliant, but for anyone who's never played golf, I would beat them. But anyone who's played golf, I probably wouldn't. My lowest I got to handicap wise, I know you can say I got a lot of handicaps, probably. You know, the lowest I got to was 10. I was very nearly single figure handicap. Very nearly. But I never quite got there. but the handicap system's changed now because they've gone over to the American thing.
Well, I'll tell you something though. If you was playing off 10, you were half decent because I had a mate played off 8, and he could hit a ball proper.
Yeah, well, there we go. So I was
So
very
that
similar
tells
to him.
everyone this geezer could play golf.
Very similar. Very
play
similar
off
to
10,
him.
You know.
I'll ask the same question that Cam's asking. You know, the hole in one you got, was it for the right hole?
Of course. Of course.
Don't upset him, Cam. Jeez, come on.
Of course it was. Well, but the thing is, we got a mini bus down there. I got absolutely bollocks in the bar and fell asleep going home. I had to be like stretched alone.
I wonder why.
Well, you know, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Got to be done. It's got to be done. So, okay, me, I don't know. I don't know what I'd be. I quite fancy something like cricket, probably.
Yeah.
I always liked cricket when I was younger. I was never played it, but I always enjoyed it.
That's too boring, man.
Yeah. If I could be anything and not a footballer, I'd be a cricketer. But I did very much like Mark Cookie. I was actually half decent when I was a kid. I was
If you're going to,
so I played county football when I was like 11, 12. Had trials. Well, I say trials. Had Nottingham Forest come to watch me, but it turns out I had a bad knee. Never even realised it. So I had Forest scouts come to watch, and they were like, "He's doing really well, but he seems to be limping all the time." I always had like a, and I ended up having to go to the doctors, and I had something wrong with my knee. Basically said that I would never make it anywhere past, pub league football. So that was at 11, 12. So I was done straight away for me. I love my football career, playing for the local pub sides. You make friends, don't you? And those friends you make are friends for life.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you're not wrong, mate. Yeah. You're not wrong there.
It helped being. Cause you were left-footed as well, Mark, weren't you?
I was. Yeah, I ended up 2-footed.
Because they were both, but
I was predominantly left-footed. Yeah, I was.
Yeah, I was left-footed too.
There weren't many of us about, Nige. Was there?
No, left wing. As I got older, I went back to left back.
Yeah.
But
I know, man.
That's good.
But there you go. It is what it is.
My football career, I was left back in the changing room. That's all you need to know.
That was short and sweet, Mark.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying.
It was.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Let's go to the naughty corner. Okay.
Naughty corner.
I'm on my way. Let's go through a few of the comments. Just putting a tick in that. Do you like camping, guys? Have you ever been camping before?
Not camping. Don't mind the old going out in a motorhome. Not that I've got one, but I wouldn't mind doing that sort of thing.
Does night fishing class as camping? Because I've got a bivvy staying in the shed. I've got a bivvy, and when I go out in the summer, I haven't been fishing for bloody ages now. But like when I used to go night fishing, we used to like set your bivvy up. I got a bed chair.
Yeah.
And just fish through the night, have some kip. There's normally beers involved, obviously. Take some cans with you.
Of course. Of course.
Yeah, obviously. Just like have a few beers, pass out, and if you've got a bike, reel it in. You know what I mean? You've got buzzers and whatever. So I take it that counts. That must class as camping. I've done that many times. I got all the cooking stuff as well.
Yeah.
Like, get up in the morning, put your kettle on with some water in it, make yourself a cup of tea, frying pan, make yourself some bacon sarnies. Happy days.
So you can do all that when you're out fishing, Mark, can't you? As long as you've got a little bit of camping equipment with you.
Yeah, bloody right, man. I used to love it.
You can do 2 or 3 days like that, can't you, Mark, fishing on your own?
The most I'd done fishing was 7 nights.
Wow.
7 nights in a
Right.
bivvy. No. I went with a couple of mates. But we had like, I think, apart from the fishing, well, it probably was more than the fishing stuff. All the crap was like beer.
Yeah.
Just pile a load of beers in the van and off you go.
Yeah. Philly's saying that he used to play cricket and he learned to spin bowl in the West Indies. I'd love to
Nice.
do that.
Happy days. Yeah.
Lovely,
Amazing.
Phil.
Yeah.
So let's get another question up. Okay, this is a question that you gave me earlier, Cookie.
Go on, mate.
So, have you ever met anyone famous? Who and where?
Oh. Depends
Let us know
what
in
you,
the comments as well.
it
If you've met
depends
anyone
what you,
famous.
depends what you class as famous,
Well, you know.
really. What
I know
anyone
what my answer is, but I'm just trying to think if I've met anyone else.
yeah.
Uh,
I've got a list really. Ian Botham.
Go on.
Ian Botham, you must well,
Pretty
certainly
famous, yeah.
certainly the older people in the chat will remember Ian Botham.
Yeah.
He was always at my local golf club. I've met him loads of times. Because
Played for Somerset, didn't he?
yeah. Well, he played for Somerset. He is from my town.
Oh, is it?
Like, I went out once with my gran, and she was talking to someone on the bus, and I was like, "Who's that?" And it was like, "That's Ian Botham's mum and dad." You know, so obviously, like, I met Ian Botham a few times at the local golf club. People I've met this thing. Gary Mabbott, met him twice, obviously. My hero, legend. Eric Torsfett, Paul
Chris
Stewart.
Cowlin, of course.
Who?
Chris Cowlin.
Oh, Cowlin, yeah, and
don't forget Chris Cowlin, mate. Okay, now.
well, yeah, Cowlin. Well, I showed the video.
He showed you the video of him and Chris Cowlin.
He has, yeah.
Yes.
It looks like he's part of like the Stone Roses, doesn't he?
Yeah, something's going on there.
It's
But
out.
I didn't want to say anything. I just,
I had a couple of
Sounds
these.
like- Cool.
Yeah, I had a couple
I'm
of
getting
these.
close to retrieving it, clipping it, and stick it on our channel, mate, just to get us out there a bit. You know what I mean?
I know you're lying because I know you can't do that.
I'll get Nides to do it. I don't care.
Well, I could find it.
Brother, I love you to bits, but I know
Don't do it.
you can't do that. And Ricky Sachs, I met him last week.
Oh, there you go.
There's another one famous. Gary Lineker as well. I met Gary Lineker.
He's a bit more famous.
Yeah. Trying to think who else I met. Obviously, Nige. Met you.
Meeting Claudia
Met
Schiffer.
you. And the Cookmeister, I met you as well.
Well, yeah, you have now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He made it.
Yeah, that's it. I'm famous.
Yeah.
There we go.
Right. And me, I'm just a few footballers, really. Just a few. I'll tell you who I've met. I met. Do you remember the snooker player back in the day, Bill Werbenek?
Yes.
Got that bloke from
The
Canada.
old Canadian fella.
Big old guy, wasn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, he loved the beer, Mark. He'd put you to shame, mate. He used to have about 12
I know.
pints before he even started playing.
Yeah, he had a pint of frame. He had a pint of frame when he was
Mad,
playing.
mate, isn't it? When you think about it now.
Crazy. Seems some of these frames only go on for 5 minutes.
Well, there you go. You know what I mean? Yeah, I met Big Bill. Actually played a frame of snooker with him, believe it or not. Down at the old, when I lived at home, I used to play for a football club called Permy. And they had a social club there. And he used to come down. Doug Mountjoy came down once as well.
Yeah. Welsh bloke.
Yeah,
Welshman.
he came once as well. He was a nice bloke. I was only a kid though. I was only 10, 11. Just footballers really. Steve Perryman, Gaza,
Hard.
I've spoken briefly to Glenn Hoddle, but it was only briefly. Again, I was very young. Yeah, not really. Not really anyone really. That in my adult life, meeting you lads, like Mark said last week, that was a big day for me.
I think
yeah.
I think Lisa wins by meeting Tom Hardy.
Oh
That
wow!
kind of knocks us all out of the park straight away.
Bloody hell.
Wow.
Well, we can't beat that. Next question.
Yeah. That's sick. That
Yeah.
is.
So for me, I don't know actually. Like you say, a lot of footballers, a lot of I remember going to Butlins as a kid. That used to be our yearly holiday, Minehead, Butlins, and
I
I'd
was
always
just
do
about to say, no,
football
just
for the
that
week.
Minehead. I was just about to say, is
Yeah.
that Minehead? Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. We'd always do football for the week, and it would. The 1 week I can remember being there with Danny Hagen, who was like an ex-Irish footballer, and Chelsea footballer who passed away now. Oh God, I can't remember his name. Ex-Chelsea player Peter Osgood.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Met Peter Osgood. He was a nice guy. But as a famous people kind of go on.
Someone's just reminded me, Nigel, of someone I did meet, and I forgot I was delivering in London one day, so I delivered to this address. Do you remember that model called Abby Titmus?
Yes.
Of course.
I delivered to a tumble dryer to her flat.
Did you?
Yeah.
Is that all you delivered?
Yeah, I was going to say, Jesus.
That's private and confidential. Yeah, it was all I delivered, actually. I don't know how, but it was. But
I'd have had to have a sock in the van.
We move on.
Is there anything else you want, Abby?
She was really nice, actually. She was all right.
Yeah, I'd have had to have a sock in the van if I'd delivered to her.
Well, yeah, you would have needed a sock, mate. Yeah, there's
I'm
no
just
doubt
saying.
about that.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Without being too graphic or rude.
Yeah, Teddy Sheringham, quality. Would have loved to have met Teddy back in the day, but do you know there was one that I was scared to meet, which is weird. But I can remember going to White Hart Lane and he wasn't playing. And when obviously the old stadium, if you're in the West Stand, you got to go in and the injured players would kind of come in as people were milling around.
Yeah.
And Ginola got out of his car and I'm like, oh my God, it's Ginola. And my wife at the time went over and got his autograph and said he was lovely, but I bottled going over to meet him. So,
Nige.
But yeah, I got a couple of musicians I'm actually friends with on Facebook that are famous, but they wouldn't be people you've ever heard of, because they're just like pop punk kind of music. So I got Jarrett Reddick from Bowling for Soup. But yeah, a couple of other like drummers from different bands. But apart from that, no, don't know anyone famous at all. Never met anyone really famous apart from a couple of footballers here and there.
Interesting.
Denise Van Houten. Oh, she was hot, wasn't
she?
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I'd run out of socks. I'm just saying, don't want to lower the
Just
tone.
to let the audience know, now why the nickname Socky has stuck. Now you know. See? It's not just us going on about it all the time.
Yeah, we don't even need to mention it.
No. I don't remember if she was thingy. I know she was to do with the John Leslie thing, wasn't she? Do you remember? Years ago.
I can remember the name. I can't remember what she looked like. I'm going to have to look her up quickly.
Yeah, she was John Leslie, and he got the sack from ITV and whatever, wasn't it? And all that.
I don't look photos of her up. There's a camera.
She's quite hot, isn't she?
Yeah, exactly.
With a little smile on Nigel's face there.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not even. I should do this after the show when I go to bed.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll definitely need a sock then, mate.
Yes, exactly.
Oh,
God.
yeah, that's cool.
Who else we got? Wolf Fox. He was never met him, but
Yeah.
I like
What a
Foxy.
player,
I
though.
like Foxy as a player.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Big up, Nita. Bill Nick.
Bill
Yeah,
Nick. Nita, I met Bill Nick. Jesus.
fair play.
That is Mr. Tottenham.
That's what you call a proper manager, Nita.
Yeah.
If only we had one like that now.
Mr. Tottenham, he is.
He'd soon sort everyone out.
Yeah.
William Shatner.
Mm.
Okay, let's get to another question.
Yeah, nice.
Okay, here is something just a bit easy going. What is the best or your favourite car that you've owned?
Can I pick two?
Yeah, go for it.
Do what you like, mate.
So I had a orange ST220 when they first came out, Focus.
Nice.
Yes, man.
It was, just to put it politely, extremely rapido.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So that was that little car. We had the, but for comfort, I had a Mercedes 350 diesel. Like the people carrier size.
Yeah.
Oh, for comfort, leather. I bought it when it was, I don't know, 6 years old, something like that. It ran from day one like it was brand new. Just the quality and everything about it, and it was just a magic car. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. And if you did want to put your foot down, it wanted to go as well. Do you know what I mean? If you wanted it to. But yeah. That they were my two. Sorry, not of the higher echelons of your car makers, but Mercedes ain't bad. It's not bad, is it?
No.
All good. Better than
No,
mine.
no, made well. Made well.
Oh yeah.
Go on forever.
What about you, Sheriff?
Oh. Best favourite car you have owned? No, it
I said
doesn't.
the best car because people might have had a Porsche, but it might not have been their favourite.
Yeah. Probably my best and favourite, so I'll cover it in one. When I first passed my test in 1990, I had two minis. I had a 1000 Mini and I had a 1275 GT. I love that car. Just get that in there. I love my 1275 GT. That was like, it's like a little go-kart. Chuck it about anywhere, stick to the road. But my best and favourite car was probably my Mark II Golf GTI. I always wanted one and I got one. I got a Golf GTI. And then
Nice.
the woman I was with at the time, I may have done the wrong thing and got her pregnant. Whatever. Happy days.
Stop then.
No. I run out of socks, mate. But and then I had to sell it because she was up with Duff, and it broke my heart. Broke my heart when I had sold that car. And I traded it in and sold it to get a sensible car because I had a nipper on the way for a bulk standard Astra. 1.3 or 1.6, whatever it was crap, man, compared to that car. I hated it. Hated it. Absolutely hated the damn thing. But then me and her split up and I got an Astra GTE.
Fair dues.
Yeah.
And my favourite cars. So I got two. Best car I had was I bought a Citroen AX GT, and I got it from some guy in Wincanton, I think.
That's down my way, man.
Yeah, jet black with like a blue Go Faster stripe down the side. Absolutely beautiful car. That was my favourite car. No, that was my best car. But my favourite car was I bought a white Peugeot 205 GTI 1.9.
Oh my god!
Went like shit off a shovel. Scared the crap out of me. I only had it for about 6 months. I can remember driving it down the motorway at like 110 miles an hour, and it's like, this is amazing, but terrified me. So yeah, I was very much like a hot hatch kind of guy when I was a kid. When I was
just said that they're gonna backdate it. You get like 6 points on your license, right?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I've been caught. But yeah, I had a couple of minis, a couple of Beetles as well, like 1968 Beetles, which were beautiful cars. Loved them. Stank of petrol, which I liked. But yeah, just cost too much,
man. I'll be honest, man. The motor you took us to bloody Chippenham the other day, that's all right. That motor you got,
little Mazda 2.
Yeah, that's a good car.
Yeah, it's not very pokey though. It's not very quick. It's
pretty slow. I thought it was quick, but you got to remember, I wouldn't just pass my test again. You were going quick enough for my liking.
Well, I'm not a fast driver anyway, but it's like pulling away. You know, it's not like you get to a roundabout and sometimes you need to go quick, and it's not got that much poke in it to get away. But it's all right once you go in.
You got to remember, I wouldn't just pass my test again, so I'm like driving Miss Daisy now. You know, you'll find this out. You'll find this out when I get a motor. I've got a motor lined up, and I pick you up, and we go to visit the Cookmaster.
That's it.
Anytime.
Manchester.
You'll find out what my driving's like. Be like, has this got an accelerator or what?
Just be like, stop at a train station. I'll get a train the rest of the way. It's fine.
Well, what you do, you like.
Okay, I'm going to ask this question and I need a wee because I'm bursting. So, okay, what was the last film you saw at cinema?
Oh.
And go.
No, man.
God. Can't remember.
No. The thing is, these days, brother, it's so easy to get shit. Like, you don't have to pay the cinema.
I can't even remember the last time I went to the cinema.
Cinemas are crazy prices these days.
I don't know. I wouldn't even know, Mark. I'm trying to think the last time I went.
I think I can remember. I think the last film I saw was the Star Wars thing where fucking Matey turns into Darth Vader. You know, that would have been the one where he's like on the lava and he says, "Oh, Luke," you know.
Yeah.
You know, not Luke. He's not Luke, he's the kiddie, but you know, whatever his name is.
I'm just trying to think because everything for years has been so accessible on the telly now, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is.
You know, even the new stuff that comes out, one way or another, you can get it.
Do you remember when we was a kid, like when, say, the first Star Wars, 1977, A New Hope, when that first went in cinema, how long was that before it came out on video? It never come out on video to the 80s.
Yeah, it was a while.
You know what I mean? It was years, man.
Yeah.
But like, I'm pretty certain the last one I went to see was the last Star Wars of the 6. The proper Star Wars, not the shit they do now.
I'm struggling to even give an answer because I just said to Mark, Nige, it's so easy to get everything, and it has been for a long time now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's God, I don't even know. I don't even know what I can't.
If someone can help me in the chat,
I just can't. I can't remember.
What was the last Star Wars film called?
Well,
I'm
not really a film watcher, to be honest with you. I watch the odd film, at least we'll have one, but
obviously I know.
Unless it's like, you know.
Yeah. obviously I know.
Something like that.
Yeah, obviously I know the originals like New Hope, Empire, and Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Then there was the other three they brought out, the crap ones. Well, they're all right, but
I can't answer this question, so I'm just
Phantom
going to
Menace,
go for
Phantom
1 minute.
Menace was one of them, wasn't it? Attack of the Clones. It was the last one. It was the last one.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, I don't
no
know
idea.
either.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
So
no,
yeah,
it was the one where Luke Skywalker. Well, not Luke. It was the one where Matey turns into Darth Vader.
Oh, they've had a few since then, aren't they, as well?
Well, I don't count them because they're crap. In my mind, Star Wars is, I say the first three, but 4, 5, and 6. New Hope, Empire, and Return of the Jedi. That's Star Wars.
Yeah, it's first three for me.
Yeah. I went to see all of them when I was a kid in the cinema. Mother took me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, see, yeah, I don't go to. I usually, when I go to the cinema now, is to watch a kids' movie with Edith.
What?
So the last film I saw was Moana 2, which wasn't as good as Moana 1.
When my kids were younger, I used to work a Friday night cabbying, and I used to take my kids to the £1 thing at the cinema Saturday morning. I used to pick them up absolutely done, so I never used to get into like 4 o'clock in the morning. Pick them up for like 7, 8, take them to the cinema, and I'd wake up after the film and they'd drawn on my face. Because I used to fall asleep. It was some sort of kids' film that was on. It was only the pound to get in thing. I used to take them and they'd like scribble on my face in like markers and felt tips, and I used to go home and I used to look in the mirror and I, bloody hell, I used to have like extra eyebrows, like a moustache. It's where I fell asleep in the cinema.
Demi Moore, now she was hot, wasn't she? Oh,
Yes.
Demi Moore.
Don't bring any of them comments up. I'm going to have to go and get a sock in a minute.
Game of Thrones, big up Hotsford.
Yeah.
Big up Dan.
Big up Dan.
Yeah, I do like. Did you watch Game of Thrones?
I've never watched any of it.
You never watched it?
I don't understand any of it.
It's so good. You should do it.
I'll be honest with you. I don't watch a lot of telly. I'm normally watching YouTube stuff. Or I don't watch a lot of bloody telly whatsoever. Only if there's a program I want to watch that interests me or something,
Yeah, I got quite hooked on Reacher on Amazon Prime.
Don't even know what
3 seasons of that. It's brilliant. No. Brilliant.
I got Amazon Prime. Never watched it.
Breaking Bad, again, is something I haven't seen. I've tried watching it a few times, but I think sometimes you need to get through a season, don't you, to really get into it.
I'll tell you what I used to be addicted to on the telly is the X-Files.
Yeah. Again, that's one I didn't really watch.
Yeah. Plus, Gillian Anderson was hot.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of agree. I kind of think series are better than movies, eh?
Yeah.
I don't really watch movies. Yeah. Like I say, I take my little one to the cinema now and again.
Yeah.
But apart from that, I just can't be asked.
No. Well, as you know, Nigel, all my kids have grown up and fled the nest, and they don't want anything to do with their stupid old man anymore.
So here's a question. This has come from Kem. Favourite criminal?
Ronnie and Reggie Kray.
That's what I'd go with. Why have you said that?
Just because I've watched the series of it. I've watched the different people portraying. I've read a lot of books about it.
Yeah.
Being from, you can call it London, born in Enfield, whatever. I just think, I don't know how to. They were just like, I don't know. It's just, I think it's just very interesting subject.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, you can look at it and just say, well, they were just a pair of hooligans that ran protection rackets and killed people for fun. Do you know what I mean? And whether that's true or not, you can only go by what you read and see. You know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't there, but I found it very interesting. You know, when you read a book on it, I wanted to read the next book that someone else had written because I wanted to see if it was sort of similar to what the last person was saying. You know, it might have been someone that was connected to them back in the day, and then someone else wrote a book, and I just found it interesting, to be honest with you.
To be honest, bruv, I think we're all in agreement. The craze for me, the only reason is, I agree with everything you said, but they were, certainly one of them was in prison down my way.
Yeah. Daniel Levy. Yeah, spot on, Lisa. Forgot about him. Fucking else. Well, I won't say.
Oh, yeah, Christ, yeah. Yes. But he hasn't been punished yet. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
Criminals are only criminals if they get brought to justice and punished. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
'Cause-
So old Luke's not far from the Blind Beggar. So yeah, I even know the name of the pub, Luke. The Blind Beggar, is that the one? Or was it something else the bloke was shot in? I can't remember. Yeah, the beggar. Yeah, the Blind Beggar. Yeah.
You know your stuff,
What
bud.
about this man? He was quite an interesting criminal, wasn't it? Apparently.
Yeah.
Jack the Ripper.
That's 120 years ago, though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just find like it's all so interesting though. But I would say, for me, the craze as well.
Yeah.
Apparently, because my dad's a Londoner, my dad was a proper Londoner, and he used to live in the same area as the craze, and he said he used to see them all the time, and they're really friendly. You know, it'd always be obviously my dad was a kid, so it was a bit different, but yeah, he'd always said the craze was just really friendly, really nice. But I guess they are.
Until you piss them off. Until you piss them off.
You piss them off, yeah.
Yeah, you piss them off, then you're like part of the M25 or something.
Oh, Dan's in the chat. Dan, what do you think? You said about Bravo 20 there, Dan. What do you think about Andy McNabb? Because I've read some of his books. What do you think about him?
Let's just catch up with the chat a bit. I just like criminals and crime, so I quite happily watch crime documentaries all day.
Yeah.
Find them so interesting.
Yeah, it'd be interesting.
I'm not involved in it.
I think I have read that, Dan, a long time ago, Bravo 20.
Yeah. That's another interesting one, isn't it? Zodiac Killer.
Yeah.
Right, let's catch up quickly. I don't. Do you guys read a lot? Because I don't really read at all.
No.
I used to read quite a lot, but I don't read as much now. But
no,
I do like a good, bit cheesy to say, I suppose. But I love me football, so I do buy a lot of autobiographies, players and managers and stuff like that. And I've got quite a few books out there on that I've read over the years on autobiographies. Some of them are, very interesting to read, especially other clubs, and you see what sort of mentality they had to what we've got and what we had and what we've had in the past and stuff like that. And some clubs, it just seems like they're bred different to others. Do you know what I mean?
Have you got Mab's autobiography?
Yeah, I've got it somewhere. Probably.
Have you?
Probably.
I got Gary Abbott's autobiography.
Mm.
Obviously, I read that. He's my hero.
Yeah, I've got quite a few here, man.
Yeah.
Quite a few.
So have any of you guys got like programs? Programs?
Yeah, hundreds upstairs. Hundreds.
Have you?
I got the 1981 Cup Final, 1982 Cup Final. I think I've got the 1984 Cup Final was, the UEFA Cup Final. But I got loads from when I was a kid. Because whenever we went, that's what used to buy a Cup Final.
Yeah.
You know?
Mine got burnt, mate. Everything I had got burnt in a garage fire. Everything.
Yeah, that's right. I used to have loads and loads of programs, but I just took really crap care of them. You know,
Yeah.
the trouble is I've moved so many times from like marriage breakups or just renting and then having to move. They just got damaged. You know, I had a box full of them that got wet and just.
That's it. I had a big old box and I had seasons worth at a time, all elastic banded, all the way back to, God, I said to you, Mark, must be early 70s, the old blue and white programs. So tall, blue, white stripe, blue. Back to 71, 72, and I had seasons worth of them, man. That me uncles had saved, me dad had saved, and scrapbooks, all sorts, man. It all went, everything.
No, come on, brother. I've bigged you up enough this show. Tell them about the scrapbooks you used to have that got burnt.
Yeah, my mum used to do scrapbooks. You know, I'm sure plenty of kids' parents did scrapbooks for them, you know, back in the day.
No, what was the scrapbooks about, mate?
Yeah, it's just about my football career in Dremel. From when I started playing football, my mum used to cut out all the cuttings out the paper whenever there was a little cutting about the team, or if I had a mention in a cutting or whatever, and she'd take the cuttings out and put them all, you know, in the scrapbook. And basically, it was my football career from under 6, under 7, all the way through until I was an adult. And it just all got burnt, man. It was, you know, but she'd do the cuttings, put in, and then put her own little paragraph underneath, especially if she'd been to a game that I'd played in. And if she thought I'd played all right, she'd put it down. And if she thought I'd played shit, she'd put it down. You know what I mean? She was proper, you know, like a bit like we are now. She'd say it as she saw it, because she knew what I was capable of doing, even at a young age. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And, you know, it's just, it is what it is, man. It's heartbreaking, because when you tell people stories about your life, it's always good to be able to, when you do see them one day, say, look, do you remember when I told you about this, mate? Do you know what I mean? And when you haven't got that, I know it, it's in here. Do you know what I mean? And it's in here. But yeah, it can be difficult. It can be shit, man. Honestly, it can be. But it's just one of those things that happened, and it all got burnt, and that was the end of that, mate. I've still got a few trophies that my son's managed to smash up over the years that never got put away. Still got a few here now, but it is what it is.
I know you've told me this, but just share with the audience. What sort of player were you? You like Glenn Hoddle?
Yeah, I sort of from a young age, Glenn was just my hero. He was just my hero. And
Quite rightly.
You know, like when you're when you're a kid and you just fall in love with a player, and you think to yourself, "Kai, if I could play football, I'll play football like him." And he was just everything that I thought a footballer should be. You know, he just had everything. And the more I watched him as I grew up, the more I wanted to be him, especially as you get into your teenage years, you know. And he was just everything as a footballer. And I was so privileged and honoured to see him at the training ground doing his thing and on the pitch doing his thing so many times. You know, it's not like, I saw Glenn once, like, you know, people might say, I saw Maradona play once or Messi play once. You know, I saw him most weeks for many weeks, and he was special, mate. Honestly, there's not many that would light a candle to him.
Hang on a minute. Go through the chat. My neighbour Gaza was better than Hoddle.
No, he weren't, man. No, he weren't. Sorry, we will.
Just go down through the chat now. No. Yeah, there we go.
No, he wasn't.
I'm sorry. I know he wasn't.
He wasn't.
I think you've had too many beers, my friend. I
get why people say it.
Yeah.
You know, that generation of Gaza was a wonderful, wonderful player.
Of course he was. Yeah.
He was, but he was no Hoddle. To me,
no. For me, I just I look at football now, and I look at that beautiful stadium we have, and I look at the players that we've got, and none of them, even the stadium just doesn't excite me.
Yeah.
And I started a YouTube channel, and I thought to myself, it's going to be brilliant, Tottenham. But it's so hard sometimes to get up for games when there isn't a single player on that pitch that I think, what a wonderful player. Whereas when I was growing up, the likes of Hoddle, exactly the same reason as you, Mark. I fell in love with Spurs because of Hoddle. Hoddle was just an absolute magician. Things he could do with the ball, nobody else could do.
No,
certainly in the first division, which it was then, he was easily for me the best player in the first division.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt,
one of the best players in Europe.
Yeah, put it this way, right? I've always said this on shows I've been on, streams I've been on. Right now, bearing in mind when Glenn Hoddle was in and around the England team, was it Ron Greenwood was the manager of England? One of them, anyway. And back then, the English way of playing football is it was 4-4-2. And your two midfielders had to be hard as nails, take their prisoners. If a tackle was to be made, bang, have it. Like your Graham Roberts sort of player, And the flair player, the skillful player, was never really incorporated into the England game.
No.
If Glenn Hoddle was French, Italian, Spanish, I'm not sure about German because they're very similar to us, but if he was French, Italian, or Spanish, Glenn Hoddle would have 10 times more caps than he's got for England.
100 caps plus. Yeah, 100 caps
plus.
Dutch.
Dutch. Yeah, anything like that. Glenn Hoddle. I just want to
quickly comment. Sorry, mate. Just quickly and then you can carry on.
No.
On Luke on Spotlight on Spurs, he says, Nige, who would make your lifetime Spurs 11? Well, I'm going to leave that because that will be coming out very soon on the Two Marks show. And,
hang on. He shouldn't have said that. He shouldn't have said that because he's done his. No, come on, Luke. Come on, Luke. We had you on Friday.
That might have been why he laughed afterwards.
Yeah.
But yeah, carry on, mate.
No, but Glenn Hoddle was a genius. He was ahead of his time. He truly was ahead of his time. The English game at that stage was not about the skill and the flair, whereas Italy and Spain and Holland.
How do you answer this? Answer this question or statement. Hoddle didn't show up for England.
There was one thing.
He never got a chance.
There was one thing about Glenn Hoddle and England, right? There was one factor back then that why Glenn Hoddle didn't play for England. And it's true, whether anyone wants to believe it or not, Ron Greenwood did not fancy Glenn.
No.
He did not want that type of player in his team with his other midfielders that were there. He had his midfield, and for Ron Greenwood, Glenn was on the periphery for whatever reason. I think he played something like 52 times for England.
Yeah.
So I might be wrong there. 50 odd, let's call it that. He played about 50 times. What
Yeah.
we're not denying, AE, that Gaza was absolutely immense for Spurs and England, right? But predominantly for Spurs, because we're talking about Spurs, right? He did some wonderful things for our football club, right? We're just saying, and probably we're seeing it through different eyes because we were a lot younger as well.
Yeah.
But he was just amazing. I don't know what superlatives that I can use. He had everything. Everything. Perhaps the only bit that was a bit weak in his game was his heading. But he didn't need that. That's not what he was about. He just had the touch. He had the skill when he was being crowded out, when he was being, you got to remember, opposing players were out there to kick the shit out of him back in the day. Right? We're talking like players are getting away with murder before they got yellers. Not like it is today. I mean, Letizia, he had the shit kicked out of him as well on many an occasion.
Yeah.
These lads were, they were very good players, man. And the other thing as well to remember is they weren't playing on carpets like they had today.
Yeah.
A lot of the grounds they were going to were fucking quagmires, especially in the winter. And players like Oddle were still doing it. They were still doing it, and he did it. Put it this way: all I can say is about Glenn is when he was on the pitch, he did it more often than not.
Yeah. You were like
that is the biggest superlative that I can give about him.
Yeah.
He did do it more often than not. There weren't many times you walked away from there and went, "Oh, Glenn was shit today."
I always say this, right? I've seen some great players play for us, but the two greatest, there's not a lot between them. I'll give Mr. Everton this, right? Now, bearing in mind he's been out on the piss with me all day, right? So I'll let him off like his slander on Glenn Hoddle, right? The two greatest players I've ever seen play for us, obviously I'm not old enough to remember Jimmy Greaves, but Hoddle and Gascoigne. They're very similar, but Glenn is that little step above. It's not a lot, but like Glenn is above Gaza, in my opinion. That's only my opinion.
You've got to look at the timings as well, because Gascoigne was in the England side where, you're looking at Euro 96 and you're looking at even like the World Cup 1990. England had a very good side. Hoddle played for England when, England were okay, but they didn't have the players that they did, I don't think, in the later 80s, the early 90s, when Gascoigne was playing, as to when Hoddle was playing, for me.
Yeah. If you look at it,
team.
Yeah, if you look at it, it's like you said, Gaza was in there with England, not have a sensible team. But Glenn's just on a different level. He truly is, in my opinion. That's only my opinion. But Gaza's up there with him, but Glenn edges it for me. Watch the Lifetime thing, because I'd done mine first. It won't be first coming out, but I did mine first, so in case something went wrong, it was only mine and Cookie's time that was wasted. But Hoddle and Gaza are in my team. But I've shot it.
There's no doubt that Gascoigne,
it's brilliant.
Internationally, for England, did more than Hoddle did. There's no argument about that.
Yeah.
Gascoigne absolutely did. But club-wise, for Tottenham, Hoddle was, for me, Mr. Tottenham. Gascoigne, great player, but he's only at Spurs a couple of years. So
you hear the songs. You hear the songs. You don't hear it so much now, but you hear the songs in the stadium. Hoddle's the king of White Hart Lane. And that was still sung. Not so much now, but it has been sung many times. I've sung it in there. Hoddle is the greatest player I've ever seen play for Tottenham.
Listen, mate. I said to you before, Mark, right? when you see players live, right? Now, I've got no doubt AE has seen Gazza live. He may have seen Oddle, I don't know.
He's
Right.
he's 5 years younger than me, so he's. I'm not
It's
sure.
just, I think that
Yeah.
we were youngsters or young men in the
Yeah.
Glenn Hoddle era.
Yeah.
And when
Yeah.
you're going to watch that every week, and I'm not disagreeing with AE about that, about he thinks Gazza's a great footballer. When you go
He
and watch
is.
Gazza every week, when you're going to see it every week, Mark,
Yeah.
and most weeks you're getting to see what you want to see from that footballer because you know
Yeah.
how good he is. Yeah. In AE's case, he might well have seen Gazza play a lot more than Oddle. We've seen Oddle a lot more than Gazza.
Yeah.
You know, you can go to YouTube and see the clips and the best bits, but it's not all about that sometimes. You know, just little things like you worked out when you was a kid that Oddle, for argument's sake, had his back to where he was going, so he was facing his own goal, right? Well, before he even received that pass, if you watched the football, didn't follow the football, but watched what the players around the football were doing, yeah, rather than just watching the ball, yeah, this geezer had already looked. It's what very good players do, but he did it all the time, so he knew the general direction of where he was going.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't need that split second to look up. He'd already done it. And if he didn't fancy having a little one touch and knocking a 30-yard ball across the pitch, yeah, he had the skill to do what he wanted. What he wanted.
I agree with you.
People say about, oh, this player, that player, look what he can do. Look what this geezer did it regular.
Put it this way, right?
Regular.
Gazza was great, but he couldn't ping a ball like Glenn Hoddle.
No.
No way. No way.
Not passing wise, shot wise, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, shot wise, yes. Shot wise, yes. There's loads of evidence of Gazza like shooting and whatever. But like Glenn Hoddle, he could pick a pass out from anywhere. Well, even Steve Perriman. When Steve Perriman talks about his role when he moved back to like centre back and when he was in defence, he said my job was to win the ball, and he said my out ball was just give it to Glenn.
Yeah,
just give it to Glenn. Because he knew that if any attacks was going to be created from all of this, just give it to Glenn. He'll either take the whole team on and score, like he did against Oxford, or ping a ball to someone who was in. Unbelievable. Glenn Hoddle, as I've said this a couple of times now, Glenn Hoddle is by far, Gazza's up there. Gazza is up there. But Glenn Hoddle is different gravy. Absolutely different gravy. And how he got no more, and how he didn't get any more caps for England is a mystery. Well, we've explained the reasons, but like
it is.
Yeah.
So going back on, like, okay, let's stick with like old players or players that we've seen and we loved. Obviously, we look at players like Hoddle, we look at players like Gascoigne, and we can go, hammer and tong, to and throw in about who was a better player. They're both amazing players, both brilliant England players, both brilliant players for Spurs.
Yeah.
But is there any players that you watched over the years that you absolutely loved that maybe wasn't big names? That you just, it's almost like maybe a bit of a cult hero, players that you just loved.
How far are we going back?
From whenever you've watched them.
Well, for me, watching Spurs, for me, Graham Roberts, absolutely I don't know what the word is to use. He just showed everything as a player of what I wish we had in our team today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was just a non-league signing back in the day, 30 odd grand
Weymouth.
from Weymouth. Do you know what I mean? 30, 35 grand or something. The geezer was an absolute tower.
Yeah.
You know, he was just all. Listen, let me take Graham Roberts. He weren't the best footballer in the world, right? But he had a lot of art and he gave everything for Tottenham.
Mm-hmm.
Everything. He just epitomised that spirit that you'd want to see in your team. A leader. You
It's
know,
a fan. That's what you want to see, isn't it?
I just wish we could have had that. When he stuck Charlie Nicholas over the railings that day, that was just. Do you know what I mean? It was just great, man. I just loved him. I did love Graham Roberts.
Right,
Yeah.
carry on. I must go and drain the lizard.
Yeah, too much information there, son.
Yeah. I broke the seal 10 minutes ago, and that's it now. I need to go every couple of minutes. But for me, I loved Stevie Archibald.
Yeah.
I was quite young when he was playing, but I just loved him. My dad loved him as well, and every week he'd be like, "Archibald scored today," and I'd be like, "Oh." And obviously this song,
Yeah.
We'll take good care of you, Archibald.
Oh,
Yeah, it was just So I loved Archibald. I liked Crooks as well, and I had a bit of a thing for Tony Galvin as well. And I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's because he was a bit chubby. He was quite stocky, wasn't he?
They used to take the piss out of him, didn't they?
His socks always rolled down by his ankles.
That's it.
But he used to always do a job. He used to always beat his man and get crosses in.
Yeah.
So I used to love Tony Galvin.
Two wingers that I loved that not necessarily got. I don't know if accolades is the right word. They were just both very good players for Spurs, and one was not so far back, Aaron Lennon.
Yeah.
I loved Aaron Lennon because he was direct. He was, over that 10 yards. His crossing wasn't very good, don't get me wrong. But he had that. It never mattered what fullback he was against. You knew in a foot race, over 10, 15 yards, he'd knock it past, and that burst of pace of getting past and getting clear. And that was his job, to do that and get the ball in the box, And I loved him for that. But going back further than that, Nige, when I was just first started going to Spurs, we had a left midfielder, stroke winger. I don't know. Yeah, I suppose that was right. By the name of Ralph Coates. He had a comb over like Bobby Charlton did. And when he was flying down the wing, I just remember as a kid, this fella down and this wispy bit of air flying through the air. I was only 6, 7, 5, something like that. And then it's sort of as you get older, you read stuff, don't you? And you think, do you know what? I was only a kid, but I liked Ralph. He was another one. He gave his all the time. Neil McNabb. There's loads of them, man. There's loads of them.
Coates scored in the League Cup final, didn't they?
Yeah. Jeez. Yeah, you forget about stuff like that.
Bit before my time, but I I've seen the goals that he scored. But
Yeah. Ralphie Coates. Go on, son. Martin Chivers, Martin Peters. Back in the day. I was at Spurs when we beat Bristol Rovers 9-1. Colin Lee got 4. Ian Moores got 3. I was only a kid. What was that? 78? Was it? Yeah, 78.
When they were in the
77
division, wasn't it?
So I'd have only been again 9 or 10.
Hmm.
You know, but I can remember standing in the Paxton end with the bars. I'm sure they were painted silver. You know, like when it was still standing. I'm sure they were
Yeah.
painted silver or white, or they might have been blue. I'm sure at one stage they were silvery grey. And I remember just standing there because I couldn't stand. I weren't tall enough for my head to come over the bar. So I had to stand at the end and lean on the end of the bar. You know what I mean? The metal stanchion bar, watching the game. Yeah, it's mad, mate. The memories it brings back.
You didn't have a go at the players, though, did you? She obviously would have got. You would have
No,
got.
I don't. No, you
beat
don't
up.
back at the
You
players back in that day, mate. Do you know what I mean? You didn't do.
Beat up,
You know,
I don't.
things like that didn't happen.
No.
Prick,
What about
innit?
you, Mark?
What a prick.
Any players that you any players that you liked that like wouldn't necessarily like stand out like superstars that you just liked them as players?
Oh, we're still on this.
We are.
Stephen Carr, because he had his
Yeah,
own
I like
song.
Stephen Carr.
My Lord. Yeah. Loads. What, that haven't become famous or like? Well, they were all famous, obviously, but like, Aaron Lennon. Like,
Yeah,
obviously,
like
like
that.
he was a great player. I used to love him flying down the right wing. So what you're basically saying is unsung heroes.
Yeah.
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 I would put. Do you know what? I know he's Mark's favourite player, but I would stick him straight in
Mabs.
as an unsung hero for the over the years.
Yeah.
You know what he had to do to play, what he had to do to live.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
but he's still doing it now, man. He's still doing it now, like me.
There you
He's
go,
still
man.
doing it.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So,
Yeah. Well, yeah, but he is sort of quite famous, and he lifted the cup for us. That's why I never included him.
He did. To be fair.
You know, but
I like players like I used to like Stevie Sedgley. I used to think he was a good
yeah,
player.
yeah.
Again, nothing special,
job.
but
yeah.
So what about, is there anyone that played for Spurs that you just really didn't rate at all?
Oh,
Like you couldn't stand, like you hated them.
Hate
is a strong word. But
yeah. Can we name the whole starting 11 now in this? Well, no, not all of them, obviously, but like, you know.
yeah, I think someone put in there Raziak.
Yeah.
That just was rubbish, wasn't it, man?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Awful.
I'll give you that one, Dan, as well. Platini. He was a magician, man.
Yeah.
Platini.
Very similar to Hoddle, wasn't it?
And he's another one. Any kids in here, man? If you don't want to go and watch Glenn Hoddle, mate, go back and watch Michel Platini. Elegance, grace.
Put it in YouTube. Yeah.
Had everything, man. Again,
he was
another one.
French
He
team
had
in the
everything.
80s.
He was the French Hoddle, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, he was a fantastic player, Platini.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Nicky Barmby. Yeah.
Barmby,
Yeah.
Huddleston as well. Stud.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we're going to crappy players now. Tramezzani. He was pretty average. What about do you remember Clive Wilson?
Yeah.
Christ.
Good old Clive.
Who was the one? It was at the old wire. Who was the one at the old wire lane? He got substituted and ripped the shirt off and threw it on the ground and stormed off down the tunnel.
Ghali, wasn't it?
Was it Ghali?
Yeah.
Ghali.
Yeah.
Terrible.
The thing is, I like Paulinho. I thought he was okay for a little while when he first come in.
Got
a really nice back heel. He scored a nice back heel against Cardiff, didn't he?
But he did get a bit of stick, Nige, didn't he?
Yeah.
But when he went to Barcelona, he was brilliant.
That's what I mean. But when he was here, for whatever reason, just like a lot of players that come here, whenever they move on, they turn out to be half decent, mate, at wherever they go, innit? Do you know what I mean? It's like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Hang on a minute. Just catch up with the chat a minute. I think the last comment I can see, I think Dan's taking the piss. It's 3 below that one.
Moussa Dembele was another great player, Dan.
No,
I
no,
just
mate.
think it was different eras,
this-
mate, and maybe we're
I
looking
thought
at...
we were talking about rubbish players.
Yeah, he's
Mr.
catching up. He's just catching up. That's
Yeah,
all.
yeah, Moussa Dembele, absolute. If he'd have put Ndombele, I'd agree with him.
Well, that'd be coming up. Bobby Mims, he was
Yeah.
shocking, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's true, though.
Yeah.
He didn't have a lot of confidence, did he? Yeah, he never give you that bit of confidence that
No.
it was all going to work out.
Now, this guy was a weird one for me, Dalmat, because actually he was super talented, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Apparently his attitude stunk.
yeah. Who was that other young player from years ago that they said that about? That young lad from West Ham had all the talent.
Well, can't
Morrison.
remember his name now. That's
Morrison.
it, Rafael Morrison. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ravel Morrison.
Yeah.
Dan just cleared it up anyway.
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh yeah, he's not saying he's just saying. You
I
know.
thought he was saying he was one of the
Yeah,
crap ones.
Dembele was quality.
Oh
Dembele, yeah.
yeah.
Azia was a shocker, yeah.
Yeah.
We have had some shocking players over the years.
Yeah. We've had some great players as well, mate.
As we're finding out.
We have,
As we're finding out. Don't you worry. There's you know,
indeed.
it is true. We have had some right wank signings over the years.
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean? But not so much recently. But when you look back over time, do you know what I mean? And you see some of the players that have been associated with Spurs in their time. And even if, they went on to do it at other clubs, big, like a Bell, for argument's sake. What Bell did for Spurs was just unbelievable.
Yeah.
You know
So is
what
there
I
any
mean?
players?
To go on and prove, though, Nige, at another level, you go off for a, world record fee, and you go to Real Madrid and you do what he did, especially because he had a few problems there, didn't he, getting into the first team and stuff like that.
Towards the end, he did. Yeah.
And to score goals like he did, man. To score goals like he did in the biggest games, it's just... It's great that he was associated with us, I think, anyway,
Yeah.
Is there any players that we've signed over the years? And I'm not going to include Ndombele in this because he's been mentioned a few times. But any players that signed for us and you thought he's going to be amazing and it actually wasn't that great?
Soldado.
Yeah, that was
It's only
disappointing.
because we played him in the wrong position. He was always in a 2, wasn't he? Yeah. He was always in a 2 in Spain, wherever he come from.
For me, I would say Chris Perry when we signed him from Wimbledon. You remember his nickname, the Rash?
Yeah.
I thought he was going to be a really good signing for us, but he actually wasn't that great. Mark, you tired?
No.
Well, I did have a bit of a yawn.
No. I'm not.
That was me, brother. That was me, brother, not you.
Answer this one, mate. Vinny Soundwaves. You tell us about Vinny?
You wanker, Nige. You wanker. I can tell you about Vinny. Yeah, I used to play football with Vinny Soundwaves. Yeah, many moons ago. He played for a team called Maple Leaf at under 14s. And I played for Wormley Youth. Yeah, I've told you the story. Let's just say Vinny got humiliated on quite a lot of the game.
No, come on. Pick yourself up, man. Right. Don't be shy.
I sent a link in there for Danny if he wants to come in. And
all right.
Again.
Something like 12 times during the game. That's how good he is. That's what Spurs take on, mate. So say no more.
No,
There you go.
you went off a stream, mate. We never heard any of that.
Yeah, I didn't go off the stream. I was here. I just said it.
No. Honestly, mate, my end, you disappeared.
Yeah. So yeah, he played for Maple Leaf. I played for Wormley, and
Yeah.
he weren't that good, mate. Trust me, he weren't that good, and he never was that good for Spurs. Vinny Samways. I'm sorry, but he wasn't.
No, I know.
That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. You know,
I
some
know you.
players you take to, Mark.
Yeah.
You know, you do take to some players. Some players you think, oh yeah, he's my type of player. Vinny was never my type of player.
You've told me this. You've told me this. Now, what happened in the game when you play against
Yeah, I've
him?
just said it twice. I'm not repeating
No, you
it.
haven't, mate. You haven't, mate. 'Cause you
I've
were
just
off
said
the
it
screen.
twice, Mark. I've just said it twice. I'm not saying it again. It's not about
You-
me.
You
I'm
not
just
like him
saying
how many
that
times?
Vinny Samways, for me, this is just for me. You know, there might be however many people out there that thought he was a fantastic player. Dan might come on there and say, oh, yeah, I thought he was brilliant. And that's, you know, if Dan thinks that, that's fine. But if any of you think that, that's fine. For me, he just was not my cup of tea at all.
And you nutbagged him 50 times in a game.
No, not 50, about 12 between us, about 4 of us.
Yeah.
4 of us in the game. We beat his team, I think, 6-1, and they were flying. His team won everything at the time. I just didn't rate him. He was just one of those players I didn't rate. I thought he had like a degree of passing ability about him. I never thought he was strong enough, ever. He wasn't as a kid, and I don't think he was as an adult, you know, playing for Spurs. But there's people out there that will go, yeah, loved him for what he did and for how long he was with us. And, you know, he was a Spurs player, always supported him, just weren't my cup of tea. How are you, Dan, mate?
Okay.
I'm
Big
all
up,
right,
Dan.
yourselves?
Yeah,
All
man.
good. All good.
Yeah, I'm just sitting in my pyjamas in my new room, so I'm all nice and warm.
Happy days.
Happy days, mate.
You see what you're saying there, Mark? Yeah, I agree with you. I think a few people need to wake up and realise that you can throw the stats and facts down on the table you want, but football is a very opinionated game.
Yeah.
And some people just can't take other people's opinions.
Yeah.
You can turn around and tell me you love this player. I can turn around and say I think he was shit. Was he a shit player? No. But for what I like in football, he didn't do it for me. I'm just talking about any random player. And then you can turn around and do exactly the same for me. Same as I can say, I'd rather play this style, you'd rather play that style. You know, football is opinionated. And I just find that some people they take that hard to handle as such.
Yeah.
I mean, all right, the facts come down on the tables, this and that, you can't really argue it. But I think a lot of it comes down to, how should I put it? In a way, what you like about football is no different to when you go out looking for a woman. What I find in a woman, you might not find attractive in a woman, and vice versa. Same as football. I love Italian football. I love the style of it. I love the tactics to it. I love the way they play. I think it puts the Premier League just under the floor. But that's my personal opinion. That's the football I like. A solid, hard defence, and then 3 straight balls straight up the pitch and a goal. Other people prefer tippy-tappy crap. To me, it's crap. It's boring.
Yeah.
But someone else might love it. And I think that's just what a few people need to realise is we just got different opinions. All 4 of us can watch a game, and I bet you I see something in that game that you 3 don't. But then I bet you any one of you 3 see something in that game that I don't.
Yeah.
I don't, because my eyesight's fucked.
Fuck off, Mum.
I'm just saying.
But you get the point I'm making.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
And for me, that's what it is. And some people will rate a player higher than another player, even if he wasn't necessarily better, but because they done more for him, they played more his way.
Yeah.
I would never, ever, ever pick a team on this planet without having Roy Keane. He was my idol when I played football. Whether I was Spurs supporter or not, I couldn't give a toss. He was my idol. When I started off as a goalkeeper, passed my trials for Kent and everything, flying colours. they then turned me down on the last minute, basically because I wasn't tall enough. Because a goalkeeper back then had to be hench. He stayed on his line.
Yeah.
You didn't come off your line as a goalkeeper. I mean, I'm 44. This all happened when I was 16, 17. And I'd made it for the younger lot and that, but no, because I was too short and because I came off my line too much. I played more modern day football as a keeper because I was shorter and I had to counter it. They just didn't want to know because the goalkeeper, if you think of all the great goalkeepers back in the 80s, 90s, they was all built like a brick shit house and told to stay on their line. These days, you've got to be more capable as a keeper, ain't you, to come off your goal. So from there, I went and started playing as right back. Never the best passer, whatever else in that, but quick. I got taken away from that within 4 games because I gave away too many penalties. And then they put me as a midfield DM. And from there, I just loved it. I was never the most skillful man out there. I was never the biggest man out there. But I can promise you one thing. Anyone ever tackled me, I went for his knees after. And I used to love every minute of it. These days, I just think football's full of pussies these days. And they just would not last 5 minutes if you put them back in the 80s, 90s, even 2000s.
Yeah.
Dan Graham Roberts E. That's your new name.
Yeah.
I mean...
I know, sorry, Nigel, I know you've probably got other questions. I just wanted to ask on that what Dan said there.
Yeah.
Why do you think football has changed over the last, like on the pitch, over the last 20 years? We know all the money influx and all that type of thing that's come into the game, but we see a lot of teams nowadays that are very, I would call, robotic in how they play.
Yes.
Why do you think that is?
I think that's stat related now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Everything's about stats. Go on, Dan.
That is down to managers like Pep Guardiola for me.
Mm.
You can tell me he's the all-time manager, the best, this and that. I'm not disputing none of that. But it was definitely his style that definitely got that sort of football going. Tip-tap, 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 work it sort of thing. His style of football, apart from when he was at Barcelona and Messi and Suarez and that pulled it off, can't argue none of that, yeah. Man City don't do nothing for me. Don't get me wrong, they have their great moments, but as football to watch, bar a moment or two, I think they're dry lunch. I think over the past 5 years, Liverpool have been 10 times a better team to watch. But again, that's personal opinion. It's just football's just gone to athletic, I think is the word I want to use.
Yeah.
To be a football player these days, you've got to be an athlete. You can't afford to play that game and at half time and say fuck it, and say bollocks to it basically, and go out the back and have a beer and have a fag, quickly calm down and come back on like players you actually used to, didn't they?
Yeah,
they used to go out in the changing rooms and have a fag, for God's sake.
Yeah.
You can't do that now. Everything is so pinpoint, robotic, and you have to be an athlete to the point that you're not even allowed to eat a kebab once a year, or to the point that a manager comes in and tells you can't even have ketchup or something. Football for me is just too athletic now. It's too boring. I haven't got the love for football that I used to have because it just don't excite me like it used to. Still love my team, still love the game really. I think the better thing, I don't like football these days. Still love it, but I don't like it. Same as Spurs. I love Spurs, but I can't fucking stand it. And I think football's done the same thing for me. Since the 2000, let's say up to 2010, I think after 2010, let's go up to 2015 even. I think football died after that really, for me. Because that's when you still see some great stuff, I'm not denying that. But it's very few and far between. There's no flair in it anymore. There's no balls in it anymore. There's no players that's got the bottle to take you on and take your legs off you if he needs to. There's no player that all of a sudden take it round 3 people and just cross it into the far corner for the man coming into it. It's too robotic. It's too athletic for me now. But that's just my opinion again.
And also, as well, on your point as well, I think that the aggression has been taken out of it. It's almost become like a
totally.
I
think you see more aggression in the bloody women's team, and that's not even taking the piss.
Right, yeah. To be honest with you, I missed that part of the game a lot.
You know what that is, don't you? That done that. Too many foreigners, too many foreign players came over because that was their way of doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
England was always just rough and ragged, and I suppose that's why we never won anything as well, because we just didn't really ever have the skill. But when the foreign players started coming in more and more and more, the diving became normal. Someone flicks you on the ear, you go down like you just got shot with a double barrel shotgun, and it all became normal. And now, not that anybody likes it, but when you see a player go down, you almost ask the player to go down sometimes when it's in the penalty area and he gets a flick on the ear.
Yeah.
Because you know you can get a penalty. And I think we're all guilty of that. And that's one of the worst things. I think when a player dives, and it's blatantly obviously he died, red card, off, straight away. No ifs, no buts, off. I can't stand it.
Yeah, I get you.
But then they get told to do it as well.
Yeah, it happened with Bissouma, didn't he? He blatantly dived, got the red for it, didn't he?
Right.
Yeah.
I said it. Well, it was his second yellow, wasn't it?
Or second yellow, yeah, whatever it was. He went for it, didn't he?
Yeah, but for me, it was a straight red. But that's just a personal opinion again.
Yeah,
I think anyone who goes diving all over the pitch and everything and that, and you can tell they're not even being touched, I think off straight away, red. But I think that's the old school side of me.
Yeah, definitely.
Where I just think football, it's got. I mean, it's like even when they come up as a crowd and start squaring up to each other, I just start laughing.
Yeah.
I just think you bunch of little. You wouldn't last 2 minutes in a pub down, mate. You get where I'm going to come from, don't you? I don't want to get into it.
Yeah.
But you just think, what's about? They're all standing there like pushing each other about, and you're just like.
I know.
There's no masculine. What's the word for it? There's no masculine in it.
No physicality anymore, is there?
Yeah, there's no bit about. No. It's not about being a man on the pitch anymore. I mean, you're not even meant to say these things these days. It's just exactly. I totally agree with you. It has got so. Football is, if anything, it's got more feminine than anything.
Yeah.
And some would say that's a bad comment, but just an opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fact we got no Mavericks anymore either. We got no players that get you off your seat. It's all, for me, football now is all about numbers. You know, people say what they want about Johnson. Johnson gets numbers, but he's crap. He don't get you off your seat. You know, a Ginola and Aaron Lennon would have got you off your seat, but he wouldn't have got the numbers that
players like Figo
Johnson gets.
Figo was the ultimate one for me on the wing. I absolutely loved him. And then you had you can go back on a whole list of players, and even back in like early 90s and that. I mean, when someone sits to me these days and tells me about a world-class player, it just makes me laugh, because I only think there's over the past few years there's only been a couple of players that, again, personal, I would call a world-class player, because pretty much bar Messi and Ronaldo over the past 10 years, I don't think there has been one player that I would call world-class. Maybe someone can give me another that would even touch the boots of some of the players in the 90s that I watched, and obviously you've watched them a bit later than me. I mean Bale, very good point.
One,
but there just weren't. Tell me one player in that English Premier League now. You can tell me how great Kevin De Bruyne is. Yeah, he's been good and everything. He's been great. For me, he don't even touch the boots of Roberto Baggio when it comes to passing and that. He don't even come near him.
Yeah.
That was a world player. Well, that was a world class player at the time. The strikers that you call world class now, really? Haaland, world class striker. Yeah, he might be now, but I'll bet you if I go back into 2000 or 95, I can name you 10 better strikers. And that's where it's gone downhill.
Yeah.
In that aspect, look at wingers you've got these days. Do you even play with wingers anymore? Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying there hasn't been great players out there, but a lot of the players that people call world class now wouldn't even touch the bloody boots of people in 2000s or
No.
90s or 80s or whatever. They wouldn't even get looked at.
Mm.
No,
Yeah.
no, agreed.
I mean, we've had some greats, people saying it on there. I'm not denying it. Like, yeah, there's Modric, Iniesta, Xavi, whatever. For me, that's more of like 2005 time sort of thing. And 2010. It's just, 2010 sort of thing. So that's over 10 years. There's just no players with no flair on there anymore. There's no excitement. You have an odd moment here and there, but that's it. You can go back to 2095 and 90s, and you could just come up with a massive list of players on there who could get anybody off their feet. These days, it's dry lunch. It's dead.
Yeah.
It sounds really bad, but that's just how I feel about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
You can go back even earlier than that, Dan, when you go back to players like Van Basten, and then you go back players earlier than that, and you go back to Johan Cruyff.
Even if
Players like
exactly,
You
and
know
then
what I
you
mean?
look at other players that weren't that. I mean, another player for me that I always thought was an underrated player and he was excellent was Matthias Sammer.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I remember him,
someone
yeah.
like him.
Yeah.
Go and tell me. Go and tell me one defender on this planet who even deserves to lick the boots of Paolo Maldini. Yeah?
Yeah.
Now you're telling me a world-class player. And one of the best defender the world has ever seen, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And one of the best players.
The
Again,
longevity as well, Dan. Done it over a long time. So
sure he didn't, mate.
you know what I mean? It can't be in question. He ain't done it for a year or two or even 5. He done it forever.
Yeah, even when he was on his last legs, he was still on it. I mean, obviously, like my favourite time was 95, 2000 sort of thing. Even these days, don't even try and tell me that Haaland was good as Gabriel Batistuta. Don't do it. Don't try and tell me that Haaland or Harry Kane even touched Christian Vieri.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You know? I don't know. Some might say I'm just chatting crap.
I know what you're getting at, Dan, but the thing is, it was a different era, wasn't it? Different styles of football. You know, you had coaches playing all different styles back then as well. It's not
another player that I still don't think there's a winger out there who would touch him. Steve McManaman.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Tell me a winger these days that even comes close to him, and he weren't even a world class player at the time.
Yeah.
He was bloody good. Don't get me wrong, he was bloody good, but he weren't considered world class as such.
Yeah.
Because there was so much more world class to stand up to. These days, really, it's like boxing in that aspect. Really, who is there really?
Yeah,
you know, exactly. I'll jump in quickly because Marcus, the sheriff's falling asleep up there, so we've got to say goodbye to the sheriff.
I need to. I've got to go to bed anyway, mate. I just wanted to say my bit on there about that. I'm agreeing with what you were saying, mate. I think it's done and dusted in a lot of ways. It's
just not the same, is it anymore?
No.
Right, guys. Well, I'll probably end the stream now, seeing as Mark's gone. We've been going for like 2 hours 20. No, anytime. So yeah, thanks for joining us. Thanks for coming on, Dan. Thanks for obviously coming on to 2 Marks. Much love to you all, and thank you for everyone in the chat. Really appreciate you coming on tonight and joining us. And as always, stay positive, stay poised, and stay Spurs.
There is no more at the pub, just good chat, debate, and love. There is no more at the pub, so make sure you lock and so everybody. There is no more at the pub, just good chat, debate, and